Broadcasting live from the cavernous maw on the plain of Ixalan. This is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome everybody to Tap Tap Concede. My name is Graham, and joining me today we have Kathleen.
Hello.
And Michelle.
I exist.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to be here.
Michelle Rapp, KilnFiendPottery.
Yes.
Friend of the show.
Yes. So happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Happened to be in town for a little family vacay, and we thought, hey, they just dropped all the Ixalan story in a day. Let's get together and talk about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited to hear about, because I have not read the Ixalan story, but they have, and I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
It's time for two Vorthoses to assault you.
Excellent. Before we begin, though, a couple things. First of all, of course, a reminder that this show, Tap Tap Concede, is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Please check out cardkingdom.com/LRR for all your cardboard needs. I feel like last episode I was like, you could pre-order the Fallout Commander decks. Now I'm going, you could pre-order Lost Caverns of Ixalan. It's endless. You can pre-order it. What is it? You can pre-order it. And of course, you can tell them that we sent you, and they'll give you the little 1-inch button which says something funny, and I don't know what it is right now. I think I need to give them more. Also, this show and everything we do here at Loading Ready Run is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, and we really appreciate it. However, before I just sort of open the floodgates of lore and let you explain to me all what I need to know before I go spelunking into Ixalan, is that at time of recording, Wizards just only yesterday announced very vaguely that they're doing a Universes Beyond collaboration with Marvel, which I'm going to tell you, I think we've even said this on the show before, was a big surprise to me, considering, Marvel Snap and Lorcana is owned by Disney, though apparently they've said that Lorcana is only Disney. And then on the shelf behind
there's Marvel Champions.
You can't see it on camera, but there's Marvel Champions. There's all the licensing thing. I was startled that this was a real thing that was happening, but between this very vague trailer that they released and then a press release that said multiple tentpole sets or something of that regard, we don't know any at time of recording. We don't know anything. Maybe you know more listening to this on the day of airing. We will talk about that in a future episode, but I just wanted you to know we're aware that they've announced that, but that's not what this episode's about. This episode is about this. It's the Lost Caverns of Ixalan.
Lore.
For us.
Yes.
For our faces.
Yeah. When we last left... Okay, I did not prepare for this, but correct me if I am wrong. Mm-hmm. Mm. When we last left...
Last time on Ixalan.
Yeah, exactly. There's humans and dinosaurs and vampires and merfolk and pirates. Those were the types by color, broadly speaking. And they were looking for the golden city of Arazka, and they found it. And everything was great. Everything. Okay. So Azor from Ravnica?
Okay, Azor, the original founder of the Azorius Guild.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not the only person who named a guild after himself, actually. Everybody gives Niv Mizzet a hard time. There's the cult of Rakdos.
And technically the Orzhov is the whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole family.
So anyhow, Azor made this thing called the Immortal Sun, and he hid it on Ixalan, and then Vraska had to get it, and it was a whole thing that worked with Nicol Bolas.
And there was a thing that stopped planeswalkers from being able to leave, and Jace got stuck there, and he lost his memories.
But the last time we saw Ixalan was not actually all that, and I don't want to get into it because we got a lot of stuff to discuss today. Okay. The last time we saw Ixalan, it was being invaded by Phyrexians.
Oh, that's true, actually. Yeah, that is the most recent time we saw it.
Everybody had decided, as much as we hate each other, do you know who we hate more?
The Phyrexians.
Phyrexians. So everybody had a big team up against the Phyrexians.
Good.
And we've had a little period of everyone kind of actually getting along is actually kind of the background to this. And while this little everyone is getting along thing is happening, we sort of start in media res.
Love that.
Of Quint showing up, but he already knows what Ixalan is. He already knows the people on the plane, which confused the heck out of me for the first several paragraphs because I wanted to see what was going on. But we're just skipping over Quint discovering planeswalking and meeting people, kind of a TLDR of it.
Wait, who's Quint?
Quintorius Cand from Strixhaven, whose spark ignited as he was defending Strixhaven.
Canned. I didn't even know there was a last name.
From the Phyrexians.
Yeah, from the
He was
Phyrexians.
casting the Founder's spell.
Yeah, he had to do both parts because Rutha got distracted and the incredible effort required caused his spark to ignite.
Cool.
And so anyhow, but we come to Ixalan, everyone's still kind of in a getting along process. No one really hates each other as much as they've hated each other before. And everyone is trying to do the same thing. The story really just kind of plops you into the middle of it. They don't really explain the backstory, but Quint is working with Sahili and Huatli to uncover like these runes that will help open a golden door. The vampires are also on a quest because Vito is leading them to find some sort of lost god and one of their sort of like main character, Amalia, is dreaming of a golden door. You have the River Heralds who are also looking for like the source of stuff, and they're going under there. And all of the pirates and the Brazen Coalition have been like mining and like setting up cities underground and are looking for things. And so everybody, through various motivations, is sort of heading down. And this is important because then everyone is going to meet up very quickly. It's like basically kind of like I don't know. It's basically like it's almost sitcom-like, and then and then this person shows up, right?
Yep. It's very much like that. Although, So the series, all the stories for the main arc are done by I think Valerie Valdez, and I think they do a really good job. I think sort of encapsulating everything while also hitting on the notes without it feeling rushed. Because I think previous iterations of my story can be like, and then this happened, and then a bunch of other legendary characters showed up, and then there was Yargle, and etc. So
I mean, that also kind of happens in this story. There's a lot of people showing up, and
no Yargle for this one.
No, yeah. So basically, I think we can kind of go through because everybody sort of meets at the end, and that's when the really important stuff happens. Basically, for the pirates, Malcolm and Breeches are investigating the mystery of downtown, which is a sarcastic name for their underground mining city where everyone has disappeared. Malcolm is from Ixalan. You remember he's the alluring siren.
Oh, right.
He can sing. He's an Ixalan character. He knew Vraska. We like Malcolm. Breeches is my favorite one-known character. He's a goblin who wants things to explode, basically. And
Also gold.
Yeah, loves gold.
Yeah, loves gold. Beer.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
We like Breeches. Breeches is fun. So they're going down into the mine to investigate the city of downtown and why everyone has disappeared. While they are investigating this, they come across this horrible fungal infestation that's basically a fungal hive mind that takes people over by making them breathe in spores and attacking them and stuff like that. And they end up finding this, realizing what it is, and then running away and getting chased by it. I think we can summarize that entire storyline by that.
Pretty much. I mean, they do get to talk to the Myco Tyrant. They talk to... This is basically Slimefoot's, like, unfortunate cousin. Like,
I'm a big fan of the subtype Elder Fungus.
Oh, Elder Fungus is an excellent. He also has teeths, so which I'm not certain why he needs teeths. Yeah, but
the Micro Tyrant wants to take over the world and he wants to make everything the Myco Tyrant.
Yes, it gives Malcolm kind of like a Disney princess I want speech kind of thing. Like, I want to be up there where the people are.
Yeah,
I want to see and I want to be them. And then dancing.
And then very Disney princess style, Malcolm uses his siren powers to distract everybody, so him and Breeches can escape.
The Disney princess.
There's a song like that. Like I'm skimming through a lot of stuff, but realistically, that's all you need to know about what Malcolm and Breeches are up to. Is that they're investigating a mystery, they find the Micro Tyrant, and then they go, "Oh God!" and then they run. The River Shapers, I think.
Were Malcolm and Breeches... Sorry, this is a mechanical question. Were Malcolm and Breeches originally first printed in Commander Legends?
Yes. They were not in the original Ixalan set, but thanks to lore and everyone being like, we love these people.
Because they were partners.
Yeah, they were partners.
Or they had partner. You didn't have to partner them together, but they did work very well together if you did.
And they still work together well in the story. It's great.
Love that.
Also, Breeches has a bomb.
Yes. Breaches has a bomb, and he's always like, big boom, and Malcolm's always like, no, we are in the middle of a cave, you'll kill us all. Or both of us. We're the only people living for a large part of the... I feel like I'm skimming through, and I feel like I'm going out of order, but that's all you need to know about that.
I mean, all these things are happening. All these things are happening mostly contemporaneously, so it's really just to choose your own adventure.
Yeah. So that's one thread of the story. We'll just put that to the side. The next thread of the story I think we can deal with is the River Shapers, right?
Yes. Let's do the River Shapers.
Because they're also just appearing in this story for the sake of appearing in the story.
Yes. They also appear. Oh, yeah. And there's cat people. But we'll get to them later.
We'll get to the cat people.
We'll get to the cat people.
Okay, but the River Shapers are there because their Grand Herald, whose name I've forgotten, has told them that their source, the source of the River Shapers' power, is somewhere underneath, and they are also searching for it underground. And they've sort of are traveling independently and come underground and sort of get to the same spot as everyone else.
Yes.
They rescue some people.
Yep, they do.
A couple of times.
Yep.
The River Shapers are there basically for narrative convenience.
They're also there, mostly just to save people. It's like, oh no, oh okay.
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay.
So yeah, just imagine there's some merfolk people there.
And they're nice for the most part.
Yeah, they're great.
They're great.
Like I said, everyone's still in this like afterglow of trust and getting along.
Wariness. Wary trust.
Yeah. But like, hey, we've all worked together.
Yeah.
We all beat Phyrexians, so I'm not going to immediately try to kill you, which was kind of like previous Ixalan.
We see progress.
But the two main groups of people that you're following are the Huatli, Sun Empire, and Quintorius group, who are going down through caves and exploring and doing sort of like unlocking glyphs by translating ancient poems and stuff like that, and going through, and the vampires. So which one? Who do we want to talk about first?
I think let's talk about the Sun Empire first.
Sure.
Yeah, and everyone's favorite PhD student.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is now my new name for Quint.
Yeah, he's doing a field study.
Yeah, he's doing a very extensive field study.
Yeah. A lot of field work on this.
His defense is going to be ridiculous.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So basically they don't really explain how they find all of this stuff, but they want to open this magical door that they've found.
Yeah, they want to open the magical door, mostly because they want to figure out what else is under there. I mean, it's clearly like glyphs and signs and whatnot, and Huatli, being the warrior poet, is also there. But it's also, I think, what is simmering in the background is the fact that there are actually divisions within a couple of these factions. Namely, there's a division within the Sun Empire, and then there's a division within the vampires. So, and it's kind of just sort of the logical next step for what happens after peace. There's going to be some people who hold out and don't really trust the other people, and they want to go in and return back to the old ways. Yeah.
The Sun Empire is like, hey, I know that we worked with the vampires, but F those people. They're having some problems right now. We should go to Torazon and we should kill them all. Otherwise, they're going to come and conquer us. And other people are like, wait, well, hold up. They're not all bad. We just did work with them. Maybe we can work with them again.
Yes.
We just had a war. Do we need to have a second war? So, good arguments on both sides, honestly.
Yeah. There's a power struggle, especially because the last emperor who we saw in original Ixalan story was killed during the Phyrexian War, and now we have a child, a boy on the throne, and he's being swayed by his aunt, who favors like maybe not war, and uncle who is like, let's just build a bunch of boats and go over there.
Yeah. And then meanwhile in the Vampire Empire, you remember that they finally found Saint Elenda, right? The basically she's the person who like went to go find the immortal sun in the way back lore of the vampire times. This is like original Ixalan.
Is this Elenda the Dusk Rose?
Yes. Elenda the Dusk Rose.
Yes.
Okay.
And it turns out the Vampire Empire has kind of two factions. There's Elenda the Dusk Rose, who's like, absolutely not. This immortality is supposed to be, this is a burden that we have taken on. We are supposed to use this to do our version of right. We should only be drinking the blood of like evil people. Like this is something I did because I believed in my god, and this is not something that we should celebrate. And then there's other vampires like Vona, who like
Vona the Butcher.
Right.
Yeah, who's like, absolutely not. Killing is great, and we could subjugate everybody to our power. Why are we holding out? So anyhow, Vona the Butcher, the queen, who there's of Torizon, sort of the vampire, is on the Alenda side, but there's a lot of people. There's like a religious schism happening. Imagine if the 99 theses or treatises or whatever that Luther nailed to the door were just like, why don't we kill more people?
99 reasons to kill more people.
Yeah, exactly. So that is that's what's happening. So meanwhile, Vito, who is like sort of a high up vampire, as we also remember him from old Ixalan, is like, I would like to. He used to be like, more on Alenda's side, but he's like, basically he's one of these heretic vampires, and he's like, I have been sent on a quest. I've got this holy relic and this holy book that they never explain where it came from, not even in the story. There even other characters like, where the hell did he get this stuff? But he's on a quest, he's hearing voices, he's on a holy mission, and so he has been sent by the queen to go figure out what's going on, but he's also been sent with a couple of other people to report back on his movements because the queen frankly doesn't trust him. One of him, the main person of these, is this guy named Bartolome. Mm-hmm. And Bartolome is loyal to the queen and a good vampire, we'll say, good heavy air quotes, and doesn't trust him. And Vito and Bartolome butt heads a lot. And they also have a young vampire named Amalia with them who has like special map making magic. Essentially, she can use her blood to like fill in maps and change the terrain of a place. It's a very cool power. She's a neat legendary creature, essentially, I would assume.
Yes.
And then, we saw some art for her.
Yes, we saw some art for her. Very cute cartographer vampire wife.
Yeah, she's
pretty much what's happening there.
Yeah, she's great. Her name is Amalia Aguirre, and Aguirre was a very Aguirre?
Aguirre.
Aguirre?
Yeah.
He was a real life explorer.
Oh, that's very cool.
He was also. He's got a very interesting backstory.
He's kind of notorious for getting his whole exploring party killed.
Yeah.
That happens in the story.
Yeah, although
not to that particular party.
And not really due to her, but
no.
But anyhow, so they're hunting. They're going through the jungle, and they're hunting for. And Amalia is like seeing these visions of a golden door and all of that stuff. And wouldn't you believe it? I think we can kind of shortcut and just say, hey, everybody kind of arrives at the door at the same time.
Yes, everyone arrives at the door, and then at the same time they're.
Oh wait, we can't shortcut it that much because we still have to talk about the most sitcom-y thing of what happens to the vampires is while they're going through, they literally are like going through a cavern. They cross a horrible like weird underground desert with like super quicksand and like monsters that attack them. And
the cat people.
Yeah.
Oh no!
But first,
yes.
And then while they're like, phew, that was hard work. And then they go through there, and literally Kellen runs through shot, unannounced, and says, "Hey, a little help here," because he's being chased by goblins.
Sorry, what? Kellen's here.
Kellen just randomly shows up, gets rescued by Amalia, and joins the vampires. Although he doesn't become a vampire, he just comes into their party, and him and Amalia hang out because they're like teenagers.
He's off on an adventure.
Yes,
he's off on an adventure.
He has an adventure.
It's very sweet. It's very cute that the adventure mechanic is continuing with him, but it makes complete sense because he's an Eldraine person.
Yeah. So Amalia says his blood smells funny, like spicy.
Yes, a little spicy.
Yeah. But she doesn't try to eat him because she's a good vampire, heavy air quotes. And Bartolome is fine with this. Vito is like, let's sacrifice him. Oh, wait, he says that later, but it doesn't matter. Vito's a jerk. And then they are immediately captured by cat people.
Meow. So back in... So
like Leonin?
Not the underground cat people.
New cat people just dropped?
Cat people. They're very... so they're jaguars. And this is sort of referencing old Central American indigenous culture where they have like jaguar warriors, and so we now make that into actual literal jaguars that are warriors, which is very cool.
Yeah, the cat people wisely do not trust the vampires and throw them into this quicksand, but then they drop out the bottom of the quicksand into a river, get rescued by by the river heralds who are also happen to be there, which is why I mentioned it before, and then everyone's at the door.
Everyone's at the door.
Everyone comes to the door at the same time.
The cat people were really just like, we're here, meow, we throw you into our litter box, goodbye.
Yeah, the cat people are also appearing in this story. And then there's this, honestly, I really enjoyed this sort of scene of everyone sort of being like, oh, pleased to meet you. I'm this person from this group. I'm this person from this group. You know, it's really fun.
Welcome to this door. Oh, yes, this door. How do we do the door thing? Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're like, okay, how do we open this door? But Quintorius, who has been exploring and has, as we know from from Strixhaven, has spirit magic. He can summon the spirits of departed people, and he finds like an old poncho and summons the spirit of he calls himself abuelo, which just means grandfather.
It's very sweet.
It's honestly very sweet, to help him open the door. And abuelo's like, oh yeah, I remember how to open the door. We have to open the door. We shut the door because something bad was coming. But let's open it now.
Yeah, the dark like growth was coming, and then in your mind, like, oh, it's the fungus among us.
Yes, exactly. So, but they get the door open. Everybody goes inside, and they discover that there's a whole world inside Ixalan.
It's a hollow earth.
It's a hollow earth with a whole different plane on the inside.
And
it
this
goes
is
up. It's cool.
Yeah, this is sort of the. I remember when I was. So I was at the Ixalan Latinx discussing Ixalan panel at MagicCon Vegas, and there was some discussion around the mythology of Central American First Peoples stories of just when you pass, or you find discoveries by going down. Like, you don't go out, you go down, and then that's when you discover new things. And this is very much in keeping with that tradition, which is very, very cool. And so when they enter this new world, it really is like, I hate to reference it because it's such a bad movie, but like the new Godzilla movie, Godzilla versus Kong, if you haven't seen it, takes no actual inspiration from this mythos, but does have the whole hollow earth thing going on, where there's actually there's a sun down there, and there's an entire civilization, the Oltec, that have been there this whole time.
Yeah, the ancestors of the Sun Empire. Because they say that we used to trade with the people who had left to the surface, but then we had to shut the door because of this terrible evil.
Yes, and the Koman, the fifth, not the fifth element, the fifth tribe, like they basically eventually became the Sun Empire on the surface.
Yeah. So anyhow, they're like, oh, hey, the door's open. That means the evil's vanquished. And everybody's like,
no.
What evil? What are you talking about?
Sorry, because you confused me briefly because you were talking about Godzilla versus Kong. When you say that there's a sun down there and the old tech and everything, that's in Ixalan.
Yes.
That's not in King Kong.
No.
Okay.
No. Actually, there is a sun inside.
In both. Cool.
Yeah.
So both the civilizations on both sides of the door were like, oh, we got to keep the door shut because it's evil on the other side.
No, the side on the outside, the upper layer, saw the door as like an interesting, like a possible source.
So Abuela's from the inside.
The Abuela's from the inside.
Oh,
he's from the inside, but like further in, not the like door. So if you go down, there's like other people who used to live outside the golden door. And
they were all killed by something.
Yeah.
And Abuelo is one of those people.
Okay. And do we assume it's the Myco Tyrant?
It is the Micro Tyrant.
Yes. But it is.
We're going to find it. In the story, we'll find that out in a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But basically what happened was they had a civilization inside Ixalan. They started to explore outside because inside was, they had all the lovely gods, and they had Shimiel, who is their name for the sun, on the inside. And then something called the Micro Tyrant. The Myco Tyrant. What did I say?
Micro Tyrant.
You've been saying Micro Tyrant.
I think of like a tiny
very
Napoleon,
small. But like mycosynth is in like fungus.
No, yeah. The Myco Tyrant.
Yeah.
The Myco Tyrant is outside. And so basically what happened was they're like, oh, this thing's not great. We have to shut the door.
Fair.
And Abuelo was outside shutting the door, and nothing went very well. But the door was shut, and the people on the inside were protected from the Myco Tyrant. But now everybody coming down to discover what's going on has opened that door. So as they get there, they realize, oh, people from the Sun Empire. Hello. People from the River Empire. Hello. Oh, who are you? Wait, are you vampires?
You're one of those bat people with the bat god?
You worship the forbidden bat god who we've imprisoned? Absolutely not.
Akhlazotl, just get out.
Yeah, they throw all of the vampires and Kellen into jail.
Right.
Because
they worship the evil god, and they're like, absolutely no, we've imprisoned him for a reason. He tried to cage the sun,
which is specifically the inner sun.
Yeah, the inner sun.
Yeah, like it's pretty well known that this is the plane, or not a plane. This is the area of Ixalan where the gods live.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why Vito was so adamant about getting on the other side of that door, because that's where the bat god. I believe it's Akhlazotl lives.
And it's implied that he is the sire of the vampires.
Yes.
The ultimate source of their vampiric power.
Although there's some question about that with Elenda particularly, but everybody else, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, maybe there's been, originally that's where the power came from, but the vampires have, originally the purpose was not to be used for spreading darkness across the world and enveloping all of the sun, right? And you have to remember, Elenda, she locked herself in the Golden City to protect it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Elenda, a good vampire. I'm still putting this in heavy air quotes because I still don't.
She has really good hair.
She does have good hair.
Really
we can
good
put that.
hair.
That doesn't have to be in air quotes.
Yeah.
But so many.
Elenda with the good hair.
Yeah.
Chris Raw just has a way with hair. I'm sorry. I'll stop.
We've got everybody is going down to meet their ancestors, and everybody's getting along. All the vampires have been thrown in jail, but Vito, sensing that he is now close to the source of his power and what he's been craving for, calls on Akhlazotl to get more vampire mojo, essentially, and busts himself out of jail and kills Bartolome, and Amalia and Kellen run away from him because they're not down with his plans.
Makes sense.
Yep. And then
at this point, remember we left off Malcolm in Breeches?
At the very beginning of this episode,
yes,
we left them running.
Yeah, we left them running, and so they run away from the Micro Tyrant, and they come out into a big cavern, and luckily, what's in that cavern? Oh, it's a bunch of river folks just sitting around in front of an open door.
And they're like, "What are you at? Oh gods! Oh gods! What have you brought with you?"
Yeah, and then the Myco Tyrant is like, "Oh, I've been wanting to get here. This is fantastic for me."
Yeah.
And basically, at the same time as Vito is like, yes, take me to Akhlazotl. Finally, I shall spread darkness across the world. The Myco Tyrant also comes in through this newly opened door and is like, num, 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 feed me things.
Yes, so we have basically a war on two fronts. On one hand, we have a newly awakened bat god who wants to go out and like hug the sun in like a big orb so that the sun will be blotted out. There's I think one of the older sun gods maybe also like tore out his eye, and I think it's the Dino Hands god. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, he's only got one eye.
He's only got one eye, whereas this god has two dino hands. Oh yeah, Odor Ixalan. Thank you very much. Yeah, Dino Hands friend. But yeah, so he does come out, and in choosing Vito and Vito's followers, vampire followers, they are basically bitten again by this god and become man-bat.
Yeah.
You know how like Batman's like enemy is man-bat? That's how I would describe like what they look like in my head.
Man-Bat's more of an anti-hero.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I don't mean to all of your Man-Bat fans out there. I didn't mean to disparage your family.
I assume he was originally created. This is a hard left turn. I assume that Man-Bat was originally created as a joke because they were like, haha, we have Batman, but what about Man-Bat? And he's a guy, he sort of has like a, I don't know, like a bat lycanthropy, sort of, and he turns into like, he's like a humanoid, but with bat wings and like a bat head.
Yeah.
And he's one of DC's stranger characters, but he's definitely more of an anti-hero. Not that he and Batman have not fought; they definitely have.
They have to.
Of course,
I mean,
of course.
and also he did show up as, I believe, an attorney in the new animated Harley Quinn.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. That's
really
yeah. Once you solve the equation, everything cancels out. All that's left is a hyphen.
Precisely. Getting back.
Anyhow, Vito.
That's
thank
Vito.
you, Paul.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Paul.
that's basically what Vito ends. He's got
Yeah.
bigger fangs. He can fly a bit. I
He
think.
can like glow kick kind of.
Yeah,
It's,
no,
like, weird.
he's just generally powered up. All of him and his followers, they sacrifice a bunch of people to Aclazotz, and he grows more powerful and breaks the chains that have been holding him. But he's not quite yet powerful to completely consume the sun, which is important. But there's lots of stuff happening. You know, there's an air fight where everybody's riding bats. There's like
Yes.
good bats and bad bats.
Yeah, there's the Oltec have what they're called the Thousand Moons, and they're all bat riders. And so there's a really cute scene where Huatli is riding a bat, and they actually have to go towards Chimil the sun. There's like a tiny asteroid belt of like pink MacGuffin like magic stone.
Cosmium.
Yeah, around it. And then you go with your bat and you fetch a piece, and then it can like you can like go back and put it in something like a sword or something. And she's like, oh yes, like finally got it. Can it be a necklace? Clearly wanting to make a necklace for Sahili. And
It's
they're
very
like,
cute.
It's very cute. Like, oh, you could probably make it into a sword. And it's like, oh,
I do get the impression that it's sort of the unspoken subtitle for this set. It's like Lost Caverns of Ixalan, Huatli and Sahili's Wild Adventure.
Not really.
No?
Well, Sahili and Huatli don't go together. Sahili ends up staying and having her own little adventure, which we'll get to. But this is the main story is very focused on Huatli.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all of this stuff happening and all of the discovery and everything. We're
I thought
glossing.
they were going on a bogus journey.
Oh, no.
I'm
That's
sorry.
more like Kellen and Amalia are going on a bogus journey.
All right, fair
There's
enough.
also some. We'll get back to them.
Sorry, carry on.
So, anyhow, there is a big fight. There is a huge fight. You've got fights happening on both sides. On one side, you have the Myco tyrant, who Quintorius manages to bring back the spirit of Abuela,
Yep,
who
with
is
the Kipu.
with a Kipu, which is sort of the counterpart to Abuelo, and Abuela and all of the other spirits sort of remember now how they have dealt with the Myco tyrant in the past.
Yes.
And they use cosmium, which is this material, to like blow it up, and they use their spiritual power to neutralize it. Breaches sets off a huge bomb to blow it up.
Big boom.
And they have these people named gardeners who, like, they're the spirits essentially who remember how to deal with the Myco tyrant, because this knowledge is sort of gone because the inner empire, we'll say, has been closed off from the Myco tyrant for so long that they need the spirits to teach them how to deal with it again. So that's all going pretty okay. So that's happening over there. And then meanwhile, you have this sort of air battle between the forces of the Sun Empire trying to stop Vito's forces. And Huatli's cousin Inti is killed not even by Vito, by Vito's second in command, whose name
we
don't remember. His defining characteristic is he's just like, yeah, every time Vito does something.
Yeah, and then like Vito's like, kill that one, and then he goes and he does a kill.
He kills that one. He
does.
like snaps his head. It's
Yeah.
all very grim. But then Huatli, I feel like basically she ends up with sort of fighting Vito one-on-one, and he tries to attack her, and all she can do is parry his blows because she's calling upon her powers to like save her. And I think she feels like she's like as stretched as thin as a sheet of rubber or something like that as she's trying to spread out. And just as when all seems lost, Huatli, of course, can summon dinosaurs and just fly.
Bajillion dinosaurs appear.
Yeah, flying dinosaurs appear and start eating people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Which is a very useful talent. Yeah.
She creates 2/3/3 green dinosaur creature tokens, and they distract Vito enough for her to impale him on his own spear.
Yeah, it's very cool. The dinosaurs definitely did gain double strike and trample,
Yes.
et cetera, et cetera. This is very flavorful. Well done.
Yeah,
I love that because they have to give Huatli subtypes now that she's lost her spark, that the front half of this card is that she's a human warrior bard.
which is absolutely correct.
Because she's a warrior poet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great.
It's,
I'm glad we have that subtype now.
yes.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, so that wraps everything up, right? No.
No.
So anyhow, Veto is defeated, but Aklazotz is not.
We put the bat in a boat.
We put the bat in a boat. The bat decides he's not strong enough yet to take over the world and to smother all of the sunlight. So what he's going to do is he's going to Torzon and he's going to fight. He's going to hunt down Vona. And he's going to try and take over the whole vampire empire and subvert them to his dark causes, which is great because it's not like they don't already have like a religious schism happening.
And it's going to be awkward when, it's really got to be awkward when a whole god just shows up and starts nomming, most of your empire.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like not cool. But luckily, Amalia decides that instead of dealing with that, she's going to just follow Kellen and go through an omen path. They've been flirting a little bit, kind of.
Kind of. It's definitely like,
I don't remember which character says, but they look at basically she's using her map magic to like help hold off the Myco tyrant, and Kellen's basically doing all he can do to sort of protect her with his blades and encouraging her. And somebody was like, I didn't even know vampires could blush, right? It's very cute.
It's very, very cute. It's super twee. There's a lot of adorable things happening there.
Yeah, so they basically, after all that happens, they peace out. They go through the jungle. They find an omen path, and they're like, goodbye.
And who knows? And Kellen has acquired another friend for the next set.
Yeah, whenever we see Kellen next time.
Did they talk about? Maybe you said and I missed it. Why am Kellen here?
Oh, he went through an omen path because he's looking for his dad.
Okay, so he's looking for
Yeah, he's on his way to find Oko,
Yeah.
who we know has never paid a cent of alimony.
No.
Yeah, no. Well, he doesn't even know his dad is Oko. He just knows his dad can move between the planes, right? He just knows his dad's some sort of creature.
Yes.
So he
creature.
pops into Ixalan and is like, any
Dad?
dad here? No? All right.
Yeah,
New omen path.
Kellen's adventures on Ixalan, I believe, are to go through an omen path, get chased by some goblins, get rescued by some vampires, get captured by some cats, get thrown into some quicksand, come out of the underneath the quicksand into a huge underground river, get rescued by some river folks, go through a magical legendary door, be involved in a huge fight, see what's happening, make a new friend who you think is very cute, and then say, hey, let's get out of here and go somewhere else. And that's basically what they do. They're just like, whoop.
Huh. Cool.
He's not necessary to the story in any way. He's just kind of there to encourage Amalia.
Neat.
Yeah, he is definitely not even like he is introduced so late in the story. He's not even an audience surrogate. Yeah, he's just like the through line. He's like,
and Kellen is here.
He literally comes in running from goblins saying, hey, can I get some help here?
and the
And Vito's like,
"What?"
leave him to die. And Amalia's like, absolutely not. Let me change the map so that bridge that he's crossing with goblins chasing him disappears. So the goblins fall into a chasm, but he's okay.
Cool.
It's a very cool power.
It is a cool power. She's like a magical cartographer.
Yeah.
I do like that we have map tokens now also.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool.
So many tokens.
Yeah. And then so that's sort of what happens in the main story is that it's not necessarily resolved, but we have the pathway to the old tech empire.
Yes.
Sort of underneath the sun, underneath the land is open, and those cultures can now exchange. And Quint helped out a lot, but like Aklazotz is still loose, and the Myco tyrant, because you just have to leave one spore alive, is also after sort of a stunning defeat, is like, oh, gosh, that was not great, but hey, I'm on the surface now. I can see the sun. And you know what? I'm patient. All I need is time.
Mwah, ha, 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 ha.
So, but then, because I ran out of time
Not at
to
all.
finish this story, there's one side story. We got 6 main story episodes, 6,
Yep, you have 6.
and one side story, which I haven't had time to finish reading.
It's Pawns by Miguel Lopez. Very well done. So this one follows Sahili, who goes on basically while Huatli is off doing sort of the martial / exploration side of things, Sahili gets roped into politics and thrust into like the very very heart of it, as it were. So, as we mentioned at the earlier, the Sun Empire is currently being run by, or the emperor is a boy, and so there's a lot of instability and a lot of tension between his aunt and his uncle. So, his aunt is a quite powerful person. I believe she's a high priestess or the great priestess, and Whatley makes some introductions, and there's a lot of veiled language around like, yes, we are all on the same page. Yes, we are all on the same page, aren't we? Yep, we do not want to do a war. Yep, let's do that. Here's my partner. This is Saheeli. She will help you and be my voice while I am gone. And Saheeli is like, well, I am new here. I can't get back to Kaladesh, so this is my home, and I'm going to do everything I can in order to help everything, including making a lot of really cool filigree dinosaurs, which is a thing that she was kind of prototyping. I believe that the uncle was super keen on using these against the vampires, but we don't really see them in action, as it were, during the set. Instead, Saheeli is then brought to a secret, like, boat and then sailed to along with the priestess, and sailed to a remote island.
Secret boat.
Where she meets with who other but Saint Elenda. And it turns out Saint Elenda and the Great Priestess are all on the same page of maybe not war. But then how do we make sure that not a war?
Yeah. We just had war. Nobody liked it.
No one liked it. Everyone disliked that. And so they're sitting down to basically figure out a treaty. And who shows up except a certain wonderful grandmother pirate lady. Admiral Beckett Brass, it just literally like busted through the door and is like, hey, sup, you were going through my little island situation. I noticed you both coming from a mile away. What are you both doing here? Oh, you're doing a treaty. I want part of that. Turns a chair around, sits down. So they basically write a whole treaty of terms between these three powers. We have the Sun Empire, the Torazone as represented by Linda, and we have the Brazen Coalition.
Yeah.
The Brazen Coalition, which is headed up by General Beckett Brass, who has taken more of like a political, obviously a political position, more administrative than like actively taking ships.
Yeah. The pirates have been diversifying. They've been moving into because they have the pirate city of High and Dry. But like I said, they were setting up another city underground called Downtown. It's kind of, I mean, they say in this story it's like supposed to be a joke, and honestly, it's a good joke. And they're I think the pirates are looking like, we're doing the seafaring, but maybe we need a pirate home of our own, right?
Yes. So what Beckett Brass is asking for at the table is a recognition from both empires that the Brazen Coalition and this pirate group is its own nation, essentially. Like it's its own nationally recognized power with this territory. And what is interesting about Saheeli's role in all of this is that she is the only one on this plane who knows how to write and speak in her own native Kaladesh language. So obviously no one in that room wants anyone else. If this document were to fall in anyone's hands, obviously there are people on all sides who would love to see this agreement fall apart, right? So by ensuring that it's not written in any language that anyone on this plane can understand, it creates a level of protection there. But not only that, but as they finish up this accord, Saheeli creates this really cool filigree booby trap situation for containing the treaty. And if they try to open it, it destroys everything inside. So she's going to keep a hold of that, and then the three powers leave, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that sounds great. Except the Sun Empire is definitely now like, no, we have to kill those vampires because there's this evil bat god that just escaped from the center
know that
of
Atlasot's left. I don't know if they know if the Batman has the bat god.
Yeah, but I mean, the Bat God is on its way to Torazon to try and overthrow Elenda and Queen Meralda, and basically the Aclazots is like, I need to find Vona. I know of Vona from sort of absorbing Vito's mind, essentially, right?
It's like the mail order god.
Yeah, exactly. So that is honestly I don't. I feel like it took me like an hour and 15 minutes to explain the Eldraine story because it had so much stuff to do with like the politics of Eldraine, and there was a lot of like, this is going to set up this is going to set up that. And there's a lot of like getting to know Kellen and stuff like that. But this is just more like, and this is what's happening here.
Yeah. Although I have to say, though, there were some interesting themes being explored with regards to who tells your story, especially with Quint being there, being an archaeologist. I was actually very surprised to see how maturely Quint was handling all of these discoveries, and I guess just the way he was conversing with people. I was expecting, I guess, a level of collegiate excitement, but clearly he's a post-grad who has been in his program for maybe like a decade. So there's a level of like, yes.
Well, because like when he's going
this.
in there and he was talking about like, you know, what we're going to do with all of these things, he's like, oh, we'll put them. And then, you know, there's a character, like a warrior character. She's got one eye because she lost it she got lost her eye in the war against the Phyrexians, and she's a bit jaded and stuff like that. And she's like, what are you going to do with all this stuff? He's like, well, I just want to tell stories. And she says to him, like, why should you tell our stories? Why don't we tell our own stories? And he's like, that's a good point.
That's a very good point.
Maybe I shouldn't be telling these stories, you know?
And it kind of it's an interesting question, right? Because in a lot of ways, Quint kind of takes the role that Tameo used to have within sort of the multiversal pantheon of planeswalkers, of being the character that records and like disseminates stories and whatnot. So having him sort of take a moment, especially given his role as an archaeologist or paleontologist, he likes old stuff. It really isn't. It's a good question that a lot of modern archaeologists and whatnot are asking themselves as they uncover older civilizations. Like, is this really our story to tell? Like, what connection do we have in order to give proper context? So I thought was pretty interesting. And yeah, a lot of like real world inspirations kind of coming in here, as we talked about earlier with, like, for example, the Kipu. I was like, ink and stuff. But also, I mean, I actually paid attention when I was in Catholic school. So I was like, oh yeah, the infighting with the Torazone Church. That's exactly what happened back in the day with like all of the inner Catholic tensions of like one faction versus another, one pope versus like maybe another cardinal over there. So I felt it was very in keeping with the primal inspiration for that particular sect.
Maybe they get their own anti-pope next time we come back to Ixalan.
My gosh. I would love that. I'd love like a big mitre with like big bat ears, just like Bat Pope.
If you're not familiar with the
Bat Pope Mobile,
there was in like the 1600s, I think they had like a thing where like they wanted to put the Pope was supposed to be in Rome, but the Catholic Church was making all its money in France. So they're like, why don't we just have the Pope be in France, because that's where all the money is coming from anyhow. And he got called the anti-Pope, and there's the big deal.
Yeah, anyone who's interested in like old Catholic Church history, it's just a lot of arguing in Europe mostly. So yeah, very close to that. Although no giant bat god, but besides the point, that's beside the point.
Yeah. So what does this mean for storyline? One, that things are very much still in play in Ixalan. Like, things are not resolved. Like, it's being set up that maybe we'll come back and we'll find out what has happened to the Vampire Empire, and maybe things will be okay, but probably not. Probably they'll be in the midst of a huge civil war between Vona and Alenda, I think.
Maybe. And then it's a question of whether or not how the Sun Empire and the new Brazen Coalition Nation react to it, right? And then also, what are the River Heralds going to make of all of this? It's very much, I think,
what are these cat people going to do?
What are these cat people? They just appeared and then they left.
Yeah.
They threw people into the sand and then they left.
Yeah, they're like, they saw the vampires and they're like, get out of here. We don't want your kind around here.
Get in the sandbox.
Yeah.
But it is similar to what we see on Eldraine, right? Where there's just so many plates spinning still. You know, we left Eldraine with Will trying to piece together the remnants of a shattered kingdom. And so we have no idea how successful that's going to be. And here we even have more plates spinning, where we've got just civil war possibly happening within two factions. And then, all these other folks. So it's a lot. I have no idea if we're going to be returning to any of this. I would love to eventually, but I do have a lot of questions about what's going to happen. And we're not going to get a season 2 anytime soon.
I mean, we don't know.
Oh, true.
We don't know what Wizards' plans are. We know that the only thing that we know is that we've seen what they put up like the logos for upcoming sets. So we know that there's like Murders at Karlov Manor, there's Bloomborough, there's Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
Yep. I think those are in the other order.
I don't know what order
And
they're
then
in.
Duskmorn.
Right. So assumably,
So not in 2024.
at some point, I assume, given that Kellen was in the last set, I assume at some point Kellen and Amala are going to pop up again. And maybe they will just have like a casual role until we get to Outlaws of Thunder Junction or Bloomborough or wherever they see Oko next, I suppose. There's some online speculation that Oko is in Outlaws of because they showed a key art with like somebody who looked very Oko-like but also wearing a cowboy hat.
In silhouette, yeah.
In silhouette.
That's
That's the internet speculation. But to like cross my heart and hope to die, I absolutely know nothing.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about this. So question marks when we will see any of these characters again.
Yeah.
I've since learned in my time devouring magic lore to sort of try to accept each course on its own,
Yeah.
a la
Smart.
carte. Just sort of understand that we may not get a second course of this.
Yeah.
So just appreciate this meal as it sits before you.
Enjoy this meal. There may not be dessert.
There may not be dessert.
Well, you did get Big Boom.
We did get Big Boom.
We got Big Boom.
We got big fungal boom. I'm very happy to see that Malcolm and Breeches survived. I was so worried that they were just going to kill him.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
It's like, if they kill Malcolm, I know I need to yell at someone.
They were
I need to
almost
yell.
free, and then he followed that sign that said "Go down." I don't know why
Well, he said
did
go down, and then it said safe. Like, remember, it was like a fungal sign that was like down in glowy letters,
and then said "safe."
Safe.
I would not have followed that sign were I Malcolm. I would have been like, "This is a trap." I'm going back up, and I'm going to tell them to board up the doors to downtown and never go there again.
Just throw down the big boom and like get out. That's
Yeah.
what I would have done as well. But I guess that's why we're not pirates.
I guess so.
yeah, that's true.
But
Great.
overall, yeah, it was a good time.
They did. That's a good point, actually.
Malcolm.
They did. They did also on the stream. They showed off a bunch of the Jurassic Park cards, which is where
God.
Ian Malcolm Chaotician comes from.
I am now imagining Malcolm the Siren, but with Jeff Goldblum's face.
I mean, they do say he's very alluring.
They do.
There you go.
They do.
So
Yeah, he's just singing like scat jazz down in the caverns towards Michael Tyrant.
I just imagining like when he's like trying to sing his way out of all these terrible situations, he's just like, I hear the moons are calling, toss sallies and scrambled eggs.
All of the mushrooms. Just
Oh, what a game. Is anything else you want to add for the Ixalan story?
I mean, I thought it was really nice to have a couple more stories than we're used to. I think that things are sort of like shaking themselves out right now in terms of lore and in terms of how they're structuring things.
I thought it was interesting that they basically were like, we don't need to explore Quint, how he got here, where these relics came from, what this poem is, how everybody got, like, they skipped all of like the setup essentially, and they just dropped you into the middle of the story, which I think works well when you only have, we got 6 chapters of story rather than 5. So that was more, but you only have so much word count. And for this story, there are so many people and so much stuff going on. So obviously they're like, look, we'll just shortcut all of this and we'll just start you with where you need to know, which everybody is trying to get to the center.
Yep. It's Journey to the Center of the Earth, where there's also a sun, bat gods, good times.
Yeah.
Love that.
I thought that was an interesting choice. I would have liked to see a little bit more of Quint learning to become a planeswalker.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing that surprised me. Maybe that's what I was trying to allude to earlier. Like, he just seems so comfortable with his powers.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a change from what we saw from Strixhaven, right? When he was a little bit more...
He was very uncertain. Quint has never been a confident person. Or, like, in previous iterations of Quint, he was not confident because, remember, he had been thrown out of the army for being incompetent. right? And so Strixhaven was his sort of second career. He's an older student, right? He's older than the other students. He's already flunked out once. He was sort of like really on the edge of like flunking out of Strixhaven again when we first met him. And then he did his whole discovery and stuff like that. And that gave him some confidence. But even while we were dealing with the invasion of the Phyrexia, he was still like, I hope we can do this, guys. And now all of a sudden he's like, he knows all of these people and he's going around and I don't know, he's really blossomed since his spark.
He's done a real
awoken.
glow up,
Yeah.
I guess, for Ixalan.
Good.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah,
Great.
he's a confident young Loxodon.
Yep. We love to see it. And
love it.
who knows? I feel like for Kellen's just going to be the through line for
Maybe.
everything going forward. I
Yeah,
assume.
an unknown amount of time has passed because it's been enough time for Quint to figure out planeswalking enough to meet several important people,
Yes.
right? And we don't, and I don't know, maybe Kellen's been places between Eldraine and Ixalan and he just happened to show up there. So we don't know.
Or maybe like Eldraine happened like long out. I don't know. It's very strange.
He's got a new outfit.
He does have a new outfit that wasn't really delved into. Like,
No, they didn't go into
didn't really go
descriptions of his
into-
clothing.
yeah, he just sort of, voila. So I wonder if he's going to pick up like more friends as we troop along through the Omen paths.
Well, that could be fun.
Yeah.
He's got pointy ears, which is which Quintorius remarks on is that Quintorius is like he must be an elf, which is the first time I've ever seen an elf on Ixalan. So Quint knows enough about Ixalan that there's no elves here.
Huh.
Well, I mean,
Interesting.
Arcavios is like, in Strixhaven is a repository for so much information about other planes, right?
That's true.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there is an entire compendium section just on Ixalan. Maybe not as like much as say like on Dominaria or whatever, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little shelf.
Maybe this is why Quint is so chill because out of all people who could have had a spark ignite, it's like he kind of already knows that there's a multiverse and there's other planes of existence where other realities occur and stuff like that. So he was prepared for it mentally. He's not like having to spend the first 2 weeks going, "Oh, my entire concept of the universe was wrong," right?
Yes. Oh gosh. Poor Jace. Yeah. But yeah, Ixalan lore. We did it. We did it. It was good.
There's a reference to Vraska
Yes.
because Malcolm talks about her. He says he heard she died in the war. That's as much as we get, but there's still no confirmed.
There. Yeah, I thought we would see Jason Vraska here.
Yeah, I thought that.
Ixalan is for lovers.
Yeah, I thought that we'd see more or any of them because they were also they were messers not appearing in this set in March's Machine.
Yeah, they were very. They were written in such a way that it has remained ambiguous. Which, as we all know from being writing type folks, if there's no body, they're not dead. And even if there is a body, sometimes they're not dead.
And also, being as there's been such vague explanations for it, it's entirely possible that they haven't decided what to do with them yet.
Yep, they're just kind of floating around the ether. But I don't know. I'm hoping. I mean, there was that bit with Liliana where she was like, Jace is always like he always has a plan, and as long as he has a plan, he's okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
clearly Jace had
yeah.
a plan.
Yeah, he did.
He had a whole plan that he was working on, and I will point out that this story had a lot of really good LGBTQ representation with
Yes.
Huatli and Sahili being shown as a couple, introduced as much, and being shown being affectionate to one another, which I have to say is such a refreshing change of pace.
Also, it's a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Which is so refreshing. Like, I have to say, as far as like former planeswalker relationships are concerned, this is an incredibly healthy one where they talk to each other, they complement each other, they trust each other.
They craft/summon each other dinosaurs.
Yes,
They
yes.
know what they buy. They get each other good gifts that the other one will appreciate.
They trust the other one to do like deep diplomatic spy stuff. It was very fun. Yeah.
No, they're in a great relationship.
Yeah.
So throw us straight to bone and show Jason Vraska in a stable heterosexual relationship with small gorgons. I just want a psychic gorgon.
Kathleen's really into Psychic Gorgon Kid.
Psychic Gorgon Kid. Imagine if Psychic Gorgon Kid and Amanatu ended up at like the same school.
At a
At
daycare.
Strixhaven.
Oh,
Strixhaven
God, Strixhaven has a daycare. Has a daycare option. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing and possibly very expensive.
Incredibly expensive.
Yeah, I can, but also probably worth it.
I just like the idea of a psychic gorgon.
I like the idea of a psychic gorgon too. Just whenever they want to, when they sense something, just all the snakes just go.
Dear, you have to learn to keep your snakes under control.
They're
tipping
just
your hand.
thrashing back and forth. Like you'll
Yeah,
never become
face calm, snakes writhing.
sweetheart. You'll never become a chess champion like this.
Yes.
Well, if
Oh,
you,
hold on, they're not tiger parents. We gotta rein that back. Yeah, they're very easygoing.
Yeah.
Ah, they're just in Bloomborough. They're like the only humans on the plane. They're
that'd be
just
really
farming.
funny. They're just huge.
There's like a badger around who's just like, yeah, the new couple moved in next door.
Yeah,
they're
odd,
enormous.
odd. They're weird as hell, but they're real nice.
They're really nice. They brought some really nice tea and this like coffee.
They had a tiny carriage that they thought was really important.
Yeah. Oh, so sweet.
Okay. This is obviously all us. Just this is crap. We're just speculating
It's
here.
beautiful crap. It's beautiful sugary crap.
It's wonderful. I
Let
love
us
it.
dream.
Maybe we should just start an AO3 account for some fan
I have an
fiction.
AO3 account already for my Liliana Gideon fanfic. we can just use that.
There we go. If you would like to be entertained through different means, I want to remind you that the Lost Caverns of Ixalan pre-release is coming up. At the time of this episode airs, it is going to be, this Friday.
This Friday.
Yep.
Yeah. So tune in for that at 10 a.m. Pacific on Friday, November 3rd. Yep. It was 3rd or the 4th, but it's Friday the 3rd. That's when it is. If you can't watch live, everything will be on YouTube very, very soon afterwards. And we have our special guests, Ash Lizzle. We've got Anna Margaret and Z.
And Z main character.
Yeah. So tune in for that. It's going to be a blast. But until then, that's going to do it for Tap Tap Concede. So I will remind you, first of all, that we're brought to you by Card Kingdom. Please check out cardkingdom.com/LRR. And, of course, everything we do here is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Michelle, I want to thank you for joining us. Where can people find you if you wish to be found?
Oh gosh, do I wish to be found? Really?
I don't know.
In this day and age?
Do you like being perceived?
In this economy? You can find me on the site formerly known as Twitter, KilnFiendPotter. That's KilnFiend, like the old popper staple.
Yeah.
And you can also find me on Instagram at KilnFiendPottery. And also mostly on Mastodon nowadays.
Yeah.
KilnFiendPotter at, kind.social?
Kind.social. That's where I am as well.
That's where the cool people are. Please come over.
It's nice.
It's a great
It's real
spot.
chill.
No one tries to yell at me. It's great.
There's
Highly-
alt text on all the images.
Highly
Yes.
recommend kind.social.
Yes. But you can find me there.
Great.
Unless you are trying to find me in person, which I'm not going to tell you that.
So until next time, I have been Graham, joined by Michelle and Kathleen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul's been on tech. Heather gets these online. Thank you all so much for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye everybody.
Bye, everybody.